Hello there, it's Satellite here, transmitting to your screens. Today we will be reviewing Flashing Lights, build 290420-1 by Nils Jakrins. This update specifically brought in an increased multiplayer lobby to 20, animated dashboards, a new call-out mission, and some other bug fixes. So let's have a look and see what the game is like at this stage of development. Flashing Lights is an emergency services simulator where you can roleplay as the police, fire, or EMS. When you first open the game, you'll be greeted by a menu in which you'll have to use just your keyboard to navigate, which is something I really don't like, especially as you have to set up the parameters for your game on every session, like fuel consumption, vehicle density, time of day, before you can play. Once you've set up your game and chosen which role you want to take, you get what is probably one of the most saddest excuses for a character customization system I've ever seen, with a couple of ugly and generic characters to choose from with a few hats and glasses. The police gameplay is the one that has seen the most love, as unlike the other two, it offers slightly more dynamic gameplay where you can go out and look for trouble using your speed gun and using your police car's own onboard computer to search registration plates for stolen or uninsured vehicles, or check up names on its database, as well as respond to callouts like the other roles can. The fire service offers more problem-solving gameplay, as sometimes fires are in difficult to reach places and you have to use a combination of your truck's hose, ladder, and fire extinguishers, as well as breathing equipment for getting into smoke-filled buildings to rescue people. For me, the EMS offered the least interesting gameplay out of all of them, as it only seemed to have one type of call out, which was basically along the lines of reach the person, perform CPR, use a defibrillator, and ferry them back to the hospital. After the initial excitement of trying out all of the roles, the game rapidly started to feel boring and felt very bare bones. There aren't yet nearly enough variety of callouts to keep the game interesting. You will keep coming across the same 3 or 4 NPCs every callout, and it doesn't help that the map is very small and bland. The sounds aren't particularly good, and there isn't any progression to speak of that keeps you playing, aside from a reputation system that goes up or down depending on your conduct. I think even if they locked the usable vehicles behind the reputation system that's already in the game, that would go a long way to adding a sense of progression, especially since some of the vehicles only offer a complete disadvantage. Like, playing as a firefighter, why would I use the normal car instead of using the fully equipped fire engine? Make me use the car at the start, and then make me work for the fire engine. The game is very comparable to the LSPD-FR mod for Grand Theft Auto 5, which has the potential for much more content than this game, as it is very modular and obviously running on the back of Grand Theft Auto, which was made with the budget of $265 million, has a huge technical and graphical advantage over Flashing Light in nearly every aspect. Though that being said, I do think Flashing Light offers the convenience of not having to download all of Grand Theft Auto, set up LSPDFR, research what mods you want before finally playing. Also, naturally, by being its own standalone game, it's not quite as finicky to use. The online gameplay is where the game really comes into its own, where you have different players all responding to the same scene as different roles, and all having their part to play. I was so immersed and found it really fun to work with other players in this way. I think with the game focusing on teamwork, the player base tends to be a very friendly community who like to work together. There are downsides to the multiplayer, as callouts are spread quite thinly between everyone on the server, which does encourage teamwork, but often leaves people just hanging around the scene as a third wheel. Also, there is no built-in VoIP. The graphics for Flashing Lights are just about serviceable, sort of looking like a cross between an early Grand Theft Auto game like GTA 3 with perhaps Saints Row 2. When I opened up the graphics, I was surprised at how many options there were, and I found a depth of field one, which I thought for a moment had sorted the ugly graphics out, until I actually tried to play the game with it on, and found it made driving feel like Grandpa had left his specs at home. I mean, seriously, I couldn't even see the dashboard indicators or beyond a few yards in front for how blurry it was. The vehicles don't have any damage yet, though that is apparently planned. There is different times of the day, but it's set at the beginning of the game and doesn't change throughout the gameplay. On a positive note, I didn't encounter any frame rate drops, even when going through the town, and actually never experienced any crashes, though I did have a couple of uncompletable missions which I did find workarounds to. The game doesn't offer any clear roadmap for beyond the next couple of months of development, and I had to find many of the answers to my questions about what features will be introduced into the game by sifting through the Steam forums and Discord, and even then they were often very vague responses. With that in mind, I do find it hard to say that it is worth the £15.99, €16.99 or $19.99. In conclusion, on paper, this game shouldn't really work. The graphics suck, the sounds suck, and there isn't much content yet to it. But the gameplay is just about teetering on the edge of satisfying that I do find myself getting some enjoyment out of it. I think if it does keep being worked on, it could become a decent rival to LSPDFR in the form of convenience and stability, which would be even better if they implemented a Steam Workshop or other modding system to add in new callouts and assets. I would say if you're a big fan of emergency services and enjoy role-playing, then this game might be worth getting, and from what I have seen, the game has a very nice community of players surrounding it, so you're sure to find like-minded friends. That about wraps up the video for today then. Let me know what you think of the future of flashing lights in the comments. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe to join me in the future where I'll be reviewing this game again to see how it got on, or for more reviews of other games in the weeks to pass. Bye bye.